I want to step through a couple of colloquial patterns involving irregular verbs. First, why irregular verbs? Couldn't we look for patterns in regular verbs, such as walk? Being regular, they have a predictable past tense form and past participle form. What about in some other variety of English? Well, chances are it's still walk, walked, walked. Walk, walked, walked. So typically, for any variety of English, for a regular verb, the past tense and the past participle form are the same, and there isn't variation. But what about for irregular verbs? So, irregular meaning that the past tense is one form and the past participle might be something else. There are different irregular patterns, but this is one common one. So here, because the past tense and past participle are not the same form, there's more room for variation. Now, it's going to be very important to remember that past participle refers to whichever form of the verb fits after auxiliary have. Okay, so armed with that reminder, let's look at two patterns involving irregular verbs. There's one pattern that we call past as participle. Okay, here's why. So it's the non-standard pattern had went. That's one example of it. And think of how that would go in a standard variety. You would say past tense, I went, or past participle, I had gone. So this means that in standard English, went counts as a past tense form. But in this dialect, when somebody says, I had went there, they're using went as a participle. So that's why we say past as participle. What would go here? For somebody who says, I had went there, what form of eat would they have in that blank? It would be they had ate. And what about here? Somebody who says, I had went and they had ate might also say, I have never drove a Cadillac before. Now, kind of the flip side of this, another pattern, participle as past. He's seen something would be an example of this. And think about how the verb see would work in a standard variety. Somebody would say he saw, that's the past tense, or he had seen, the past participle form. So, seen counts as a past participle form in standard English, but in this dialect where somebody says he's seen something, it's being used as a past tense form. So we call this pattern participle as past. When somebody says he's seen something, what form of drink would they use there? I think it would be Bob drunk lemonade yesterday. And here, let's see, swim, swam, swum. So the person who says he's seen something or Bob drunk lemonade would say Sue swum across the lake rather than swam. So that's past as participle and participle as past. It seems confusing. Just take your time and step through the process of figuring out what it is, and you can do it.